Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm your host Ellen, and today we have 100 questions on general knowledge. Let's take a look at our Quiz Class awards. And here they are. Let us know how you rank in the comments at the end, along with the answer to the bonus question. And let's put our thinking caps on. Which Indo-European root does the word tragedy derive from? Sacred play, goat song, or harvest chant? Goat song. Who painted the burial of the Count of Orgaz? El Greco, Caravaggio, or Zurbaran? El Greco. Which element was first isolated by Humphrey Davy in 1807 using electrolysis? Calcium, sodium, or potassium? Potassium. The Treaty of Westphalia is most directly credited with establishing what principle in international law? Religious freedom, collective defense, or state sovereignty? State sovereignty. In Norse mythology, who are Hugin and Munin? Thor's goats, Loki's wolves, or Odin's ravens? Odin's ravens. Which philosopher developed the concept of the will to power? Kierkegaard, Friedrich Nietzsche, or Schopenhauer? Friedrich Nietzsche. The word algebra originates from an Arabic term meaning what? Reunion of broken parts, balance of opposites, or science of calculation? Reunion of broken parts. Who composed the opera The Turn of the Screw? Ralph Vaughan Williams, Benjamin Britten, or Arthur Sullivan? Benjamin Britten. Which physicist proposed the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics? Richard Feynman, Niels Bohr, or Hugh Everett? Hugh Everett. Which world leader initiated the perestroika reforms? Leonid Brezhnev, Mikhail Gorbachev, or Boris Yeltsin? Mikhail Gorbachev. In Greek mythology, who was the mother of the Minotaur? Europa, Ariadne, or Pasiphae? Pasiphae. Who wrote the Phenomenology of Spirit? Immanuel Kant, Karl Marx, or G.W.F. Hegel? G.W.F. Hegel. The term quarantine originally referred to what period of isolation? 20 days, 7 days, or 40 days? 40 days. Which artist pioneered the sfumato technique? Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, or Raphael? Leonardo da Vinci. Which scientist coined the term cell after observing cork under a microscope? Antony von Leeuwenhoek, Matthias Schleiden, or Robert Hooke? Robert Hooke. The Bandung Conference of 1955 was a significant event for what movement? Warsaw Pact, Non-Aligned Movement, or OPEC? Non-aligned movement. In Egyptian mythology, which god weighed hearts against the feather of Maat? Anubis, Thoth, or Horus? Anubis. Who developed the idea of tabula rasa in philosophy? Thomas Hobbes, David Hume, or John Locke? John Locke. The word candidate originates from the Latin for what? Clothed in white, voice of the people, or public speaker? Clothed in white. We are at question 20 already. Who painted the Garden of Earthly Delights? Jan van Eyck, Hieronymus Bosch, or Peter Bruegel the Elder? Hieronymus Bosch. What was Rosalind Franklin's key contribution to DNA discovery? X-ray diffraction images, isolating nucleotides, or proposing the helical twist? X-ray diffraction images. Which treaty formally ended the War of Spanish Succession? The Treaty of Vienna, the Treaty of Paris, or the Treaty of Utrecht? The Treaty of Utrecht. In Hindu mythology, what is Garuda's primary role? Vehicle of Vishnu, guardian of Shiva, or slayer of Rakshasa? Vehicle of Vishnu. Which philosopher is known for the allegory of the cave? Socrates, Plato, or Aristotle? Plato. We are at question 25. Please let us know so far how you are doing. The word malaria derives from an Italian phrase meaning what? Black water, sick fever, or bad air? Bad air. Who designed the dome of Florence's Santa Maria del Fiore? Filippo Brunelleschi, Harpo, or Leon Battista Alberti? Filippo Brunelleschi. What discovery earned Barbara McClintock the Nobel Prize in Physiology? Transposable genetic elements, structure of ribosomes, or role of telomeres? Transposable genetic elements. The domino theory was central to which U.S. foreign policy? The Marshall Plan, Cold War containment, or the Monroe Doctrine? Cold War containment. In Celtic mythology, what is Tir na Nog? Realm of the dead, Isle of warriors, or land of eternal youth? Land of eternal youth. Which philosopher authored Being and Time? Edmund Husserl, Jean-Paul Sartre, or Martin Heidegger? Martin Heidegger. The word salary derives from payments once made in what form? Wine, salt, or silver? Salt. And moving right along, question 32, who painted the series Water Lilies? Claude Monet, Vertigo, or Edward Manet? Claude Monet. Which scientist proposed the idea of continental drift in 1912? Charles Lyell, Alfred Wegener, or Harry Hess? Alfred Wegener. The Helsinki Accords aimed primarily at what? Improving East-West relations, expanding NATO, or ending the Vietnam War? Improving East-West relations. In Japanese mythology, who is the sun goddess? Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, or Izanami? Amaterasu. Which thinker distinguished between noumenon and phenomenon? René Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, or Immanuel Kant? Immanuel Kant. The word pagan originally meant what in Latin? Outsider, rural dweller, or idol worshiper? And the answer is rural dweller. Who painted the School of Athens? Raphael, Michelangelo, or Titian? Raphael. Which element did Marie Curie discover first? Radium, francium, or polonium? Polonium. The Congress of Vienna aimed to restore what? National self-determination, balance of power in Europe, or colonial independence? Balance of power in Europe. We are at question 41, moving along. In Mesopotamian myth, who was Gilgamesh's companion? Shamash, Enkidu, or Humbaba? Enkidu. Which philosopher declared hell is other people? Simone de Beauvoir, Albert Camus, or Jean-Paul Sartre? Jean-Paul Sartre. The word index comes from the Latin meaning what? Pointer, record or record, excuse me, or list. Pointer. Which artist painted The Night Watch? Frans Hals, Vermeer, or Rembrandt? Rembrandt. Who proposed the uncertainty principle? Max Planck, Werner Heisenberg, or Erwin Schrödinger? Werner Heisenberg. The Treaty of Tordesillas divided new lands between which two nations? Portugal and France, Spain and Portugal, or Spain and England? Spain and Portugal. In Roman mythology, who is the goddess of the hearth? Vesta, Juno, or Minerva? Vesta. Which philosopher emphasized the social contract in governance? Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Montesquieu, or John Locke? Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The word sinister originally meant what in Latin? Evil, left-handed, or cursed? Left-handed. And we are at question 50, halfway to 100. Who painted Guernica? Pablo Picasso, Salvador Dali, or Joan Miro? Pablo Picasso. Which physicist proposed the concept of wave-particle duality? Albert Einstein, Louis de Broglie, or Max Planck? Louis de Broglie. The Edict of Nantes granted rights to which group? French Jews, French Catholics in England, or French Protestants? French Protestants. In Aztec mythology, who was the feathered serpent god? This I will not even try. Quetzalcoatl. I did my best. Which thinker wrote the Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism? Max Weber, Emil Durkheim, or Karl Marx? Max Weber. The word trivia comes from the Latin meaning what? Common knowledge, public games, or three roads? And clock is ticking. Three roads. Who painted Las Meninas? El Greco, Diego Velázquez, or Francisco Goya? Diego Velázquez. And let's keep moving. Which scientist first synthesized urea artificially, challenging vitalism? Friedrich Wöhler, Justus von Liebig, or Robert Bunsen? Friedrich Wöhler. The Camp David Accords led to peace between which two nations? Egypt and Syria, Israel and Jordan, or Egypt and Israel? Egypt and Israel. Let's keep rolling. In Greek myth, who punished Prometheus for stealing fire? Zeus, Apollo, or Ares? Zeus. Which philosopher wrote Leviathan? Francis Bacon, Thomas Hobbes, or John Locke? Thomas Hobbes. The term sycophant originates from an accusation involving what? Olive theft, grain fraud, or fig smuggling? Fig smuggling. Who sculpted the Ecstasy of Saint Teresa? Donatello, Bernini, or Michelangelo? Hope you're ready for the answer. Bernini. What astronomical phenomenon did Jocelyn Bell Burnell discover? Pulsars, quasars, or neutron stars? Pulsars. The Yalta Conference was attended by Churchill, Roosevelt, and whom? De Gaulle, Truman, or Stalin? And here we go. Stalin. In Hindu mythology, who is the goddess of learning and wisdom? Parvati, Saraswati, or Lakshmi? Saraswati. Which philosopher is associated with the phrase, I think, therefore I am? Blaise Pascal, Baruch Spinoza, or René Descartes? René Descartes. The term ostracize comes from the use of what objects in ancient Athens? Pottery shards, stones, or wooden tablets? Pottery shards. Who painted The Persistence of Memory? Giorgio de Chirico, Salvador Dali, or René Magritte? Salvador Dali. Which element was named after the Greek word for stranger? Xenon, argon, or helium? And the answer is xenon. We are at 70. On to the next challenge. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was a non-aggression agreement between which nations? Italy, Germany, France, Soviet Union, or Soviet Union and Nazi Germany? The Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. In Norse mythology, what is Ragnarok? the end of the gods, the hall of feasting, or the birth of giants? The end of the gods. Who wrote The Interpretation of Dreams? Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, or Alfred Adler? Sigmund Freud. The word alphabet comes from which two Greek letters? Alpha and beta, alpha and gamma, or beta and delta? Alpha and beta. Who painted the Arnolfini portrait? Roger van der Weyden, Hans Holbein, or Jan van Eyck? Jan van Eyck. Which scientist introduced the concept of inertia before Newton? Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, or Tycho Brahe? Galileo. The Sykes-Picot Agreement divided which region? Africa, the Balkans, or the Middle East? The Middle East. In Roman myth, who were Romulus and Remus nursed by? A nymph, a she-wolf, or a woodpecker? A she-wolf. Which philosopher authored Critique of Pure Reason? Immanuel Kant, David Hume, or Gottfried Leibniz? And here we go for the answer, Immanuel Kant. Next question. The word mentor originates from which ancient work? Virgil's Aeneid, Hesiod's Theogony, or Homer's Odyssey? Homer's Odyssey. And we have a few more to go. We are on question 80. Who painted the Hay Wain? Thomas Gainsborough, John Constable, or J.M.W. Turner? John Constable. What did Dmitri Mendeleev arrange in his groundbreaking chart? The periodic table of elements, laws of thermodynamics, or atomic orbits? Periodic table of elements. Which treaty ended the Russo-Japanese War? Treaty of Kanagawa, the Treaty of Portsmouth, or the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk? Treaty of Portsmouth. In Egyptian mythology, which god devoured souls deemed unworthy? Ammit, Set, or Sobek? Ammit. Who coined the term "the medium is the message"? Roland Barthes, Jacques Derrida, or Marshall McLuhan? Marshall McLuhan. The word museum originates from what? Shrines to the Muses, halls of kings, or Roman archives? Shrines to the Muses. Who painted The Birth of Venus? Titian, Giorgione, or Sandro Botticelli? Sandro Botticelli. Which scientist discovered radioactivity in uranium salts in 1896? Pierre Curie, Wilhelm Röntgen, or Henri Becquerel? Henri Becquerel. The Monroe Doctrine primarily opposed what? U.S. trade with Asia, European colonization, or the expansion of Russia? European colonization. In Greek myth, who guided souls to the underworld? Charon, Hades, or Hermes? Hermes. Which philosopher developed the idea of the categorical imperative? Aristotle, Hegel, or Immanuel Kant? Immanuel Kant. The word nihilism comes from the Latin for what? Death, nothing, or void? And the answer is nothing. Who painted American Gothic? Edward Hopper, Thomas Hart Benton, or Grant Wood? Grant Wood. Which scientist first identified insulin? Charles Best, Frederick Banting, or John MacLeod? Frederick Banting. Don't relax just yet. The Kellogg-Briand Pact sought to outlaw what? Colonization, economic sanctions, or war? War. In Norse mythology, what is Yggdrasil? World tree, sea serpent, or bridge of fire? World tree. Which philosopher wrote Thus Spoke Zarathustra? Arthur Schopenhauer, Soren Kierkegaard, or Friedrich Nietzsche? Friedrich Nietzsche. On to number 97. The word clue originally referred to what object in Greek myth? A torch, a stone, or a ball of thread? A ball of thread. Who painted The Kiss? Oscar Kokoschka, Egon Schiele, or Gustav Klimt? Gustav Klimt. Which physicist developed the concept of imaginary time? Roger Penrose, Paul Dirac, or Stephen Hawking? Stephen Hawking. We are at question 100. The Peace of Augsburg allowed rulers to choose between which religions? Anglicanism and Catholicism, Lutheranism and Catholicism, or Calvinism and Catholicism? Lutheranism and Catholicism. And on to our bonus question. The smallest bone in the human body is located in which part of the body? Let us know the answer in the comments. And of course, how well you did with our quiz class Einstein rewards. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this quiz, and we will see you in our next one. Bye-bye.